Do you like dwarves? Do you hate elves? Do you wish you could change the French climate? Permanently? If so, you've got a very weird set of preferences, but that's why I like you. Welcome to Total Warhammer 3. Immortal Empires just dropped, and it's very stable. I dare say it even has too much polish. So this video is also about the first two games, and almost all of the DLC. If you're unfamiliar with Warhammer, good. It is the pinnacle of nerd shit made by a horrible company that nobody likes. Oh, sorry, was that too harsh? No, by all means, please, go spend $400 on a bunch of figurines and hang out with a bunch of pretentious nerds so they can lecture you about how it's not a game, it's the hobby, and how their army is so pristine and valuable that you can only handle it with double-layered surgical gloves, but they can smear Cheeto grease onto your guys until the end of time. Yes, game sucks. Fight me. The setting, on the other hand, is incredible. It's like someone read Lord of the Rings and missed every single theme and moral lesson you could possibly derive from it. Oh, what's that? Your own personal battle to resist the temptations of evil are as righteous as 1,000 battles? Pfft, fuck that. Infinite rats. Every faction is fun-maxed to 11, which makes the setting, and the 40k version, perfect for adaptations. And this game is one of the best adaptations I've ever seen. But how can I say it's a great adaptation if I don't know anything about Warhammer? Because I'm not talking about Warhammer. Like I said, it's nerd shit. We play video games on this channel. Total Warhammer adapted the established Total War gameplay to fit with the Warhammer setting, and instead of being a niche game that only appeals to fans of both, it turned out so good that it appeals to fans of neither. Like me, the fun video game got me interested in the ridiculous lore, and the vast Warhammer setting creates a plethora of opportunities to create new gameplay mechanics, or put a creative spin on existing ones. I see video games as a massive interdisciplinary collaboration, so I want to talk about how stuff like music, sound, and art design all feed into the core experience. But these videos exist so human factions in fantasy tend to be straightforward and no nonsense. So naturally, Warhammer's human faction is based on the most convoluted, nonsense shit in human history, the Holy Roman Empire. To make a long story short, hey guys, let's go invade France. No. Oh fuck, I'm being invaded by the Ottomans. Again, please help. Oh god, fuck. Fine.
Summon the Elector Counts!
If you've ever played a Total War game, the Empire's arsenal should be just the right blend of familiar and unfamiliar. If you haven't, it's just an RTS where you control entire regiments. The main thing you gotta learn is morale. Units have a red health bar like in every other game, but all the health in the world means nothing if they run away. That's what morale represents. How close the unit is to realizing, oh fuck, I am in a battle. I am going to die. You can keep morale up by helping them feel safe and comfortable. So keep your formations tight, flanks secure, and leaders close by. Why doesn't he have an escort? Because he is the escort. Yeah, if I saw my general throw a fucking fireball, my morale would go up too. Then it'd go right back down when I saw Steve, wait, fuck, this is Germany, Valmir von Volkvan get his head ripped off by a fucking vampire. Yeah, if that didn't rout me, seeing his headless corpse get back up and join the enemy army definitely would. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Combat isn't just a back and forth spook-off. Combat is actually based around the single most important invention in human history, the pointy stick. Hand a couple out to your buddies and you're laughing. But the pointy stick's only good if you can actually catch up to your stab wound recipients. This is why we express mail them smaller, pointier sticks from our bows, crossbows, and yes, guns. If you think about it, a gunshot is really just a long-distance stab wound. But that's just semantics. We've really gotten away from the spirit of this whole exercise. You know, holding the pointy stick with your own two hands and personally disemboweling the enemies of the state. Which includes the state. This is the Holy Roman Empire after all. But yeah, fuck those archers. They probably can't hear me from over there, so let's go deliver the message. Personally. Pop quiz. What are these called? Cavalry? Wrong. It is cavalry. Anyone who says cavalry is fucking wrong, because I highly doubt they are referring to an open-air depiction of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Fuck, I got distracted. So that's the basic Total War triangle in way too many words. And I didn't even cover exhaustion. Yeah, troops get tired if they have to run around or go uphill, but I always forget about that. I'm just like, come on, you only ran 7 miles uphill, twice because I fucked up a formation move. How are you losing this fight? Yeah, I'm kind of dumb. This core stupidity is the foundation of my playstyle. Remember the words of Sun Tzu. A real man ought to be a little stupid. Therefore, it's not a misplay to run an army with 19 rocket batteries. That whole triangle business of spearman pokes horsey, horsey pokes gunman, gunman shoots man doesn't matter when their entire army is getting the Ted Kaczynski special. Spearman, more like smearman, cause now he's a smear on the fucking ground. But hang on, back up. Why only 19? Cause you gotta make room for GELT.
I am supreme!
Basically, in the world of Warhammer, all wizards have to pick an element, and GELT picked metal. This got him bullied relentlessly at wizard school, cause he picked the lamest element while everyone else was obsessed with the Chad College of Bright. Oh, what's that? Soul Blight? Light of Battle? I've just been spamming the burning head, bro. But then GELT realized, hang on, money is power, and I can turn anything into gold. So, after turning lead to gold, and people's bones to lead,
I am supreme!
GELT dethroned the Brainlet Fire School and became the supreme patriarch of the colleges of magic. His Immortal Empires campaign is really funny. Instead of having to fight humans, both living and dead, the Emperor just asks, hey man, I've got my hands full over here. Could you do me a solid and murder everything in a 3-mile radius? And murder you shall. But how can you kill what's already dead? I mean, rockets work just fine, but it's transition, just roll with it. The map is basically just Earth. What did you expect to find in Fantasy Romania? Yeah, that's right, vampires. They're called vampire counts because they're technically still part of the Empire, but they always vote for themselves, so it doesn't really count. Haha, get it? Count? What you won't be counting is their numbers, because Jesus Christ. Turns out, Total War is just free real estate for necromancers. The main gimmick here is that your units are undead. You can't fear for your life if you don't have one. The entire army is being magically puppeteered, and when that magic juice runs out, the army crumbles to dust. And what is that magic juice? Morale. Instead of routing, your units just die. That's cool. That's fun. It's a simple change to a basic mechanic that has far-reaching implications for how you play. Now you don't have to worry about your human shield getting cold feet. You know, because they're already cold. Instead, you've got to focus on your leaders. This ain't Lich King rules. If they go down, the entire army goes with them. Granted, they don't go down easily, but I've got just the tool for the job. I fucking love dwarves. They've got brotherhood, tenacity, a knack for engineering, and a burning hatred for anything even remotely resembling an elf. And for the record, it's dwarves, because that is the grammatically correct English plural for dwarf. Dwarves isn't a word. It was made up by Tolkien. His dwarves are characterized as a proud race, stern and unbreakably stubborn defenders of order. You know, because they're Germans. I mean, really, think about it. They're grumpy, they're good engineers, they stubbornly adhere to rules and procedures, they like beer, and they're racist. Dwarves are just Germans, and there's nothing you can say that will change my mind. Warhammer took all these traits and ran with them, albeit not very quickly. Very dangerous over short distances, though. In Warhammer, they are so stubborn, so proud, and so spiteful that they remember every single person who has ever wronged them. They hold on to these grudges until the end of time, so dwarf domestic and foreign affairs are largely driven by the Book of Grudges, a giant shit list of wrongs that need righting. Kinda like My Name is Earl, but instead of an apology, it's several volleys of high-caliber munitions from a mile away. This playstyle synergizes with my aforementioned idiocy, making me a master practitioner of the Way of the Brainlet. Flanking maneuvers? Terrain bonuses? How about I throw rocks at you until you go away? Does that sound good? Because it sounds great to me. I gotta level with you. I'm not an RTS player. Essence of Brainlet is fundamentally incompatible with the genre. What I want to do is watch my T-Rex bitch slap someone out of existence. What I should do is tell my Croxagores to get out of the way before... Yes, this is a me problem, although I would strongly advise reconsidering your skill issue comment, since that's the whole point of this video. I'm not an RTS fan. I'm not a Warhammer fan, thank God. Me enjoying this game at all is significant, but I don't enjoy it. I fucking love it. Its diverse swath of content lets me pick what I like, and the setting is so violent and racist that it's fun to hate what I don't like.
He headbutted me in the groin!
Case in point, the French. I will always claim to hate the French because they were the dominant European land power up until the unification of Germany, and I think it's funny to perpetuate that nationalistic European rivalry, you know, as an American living in the 21st century. But this game gives me an actual reason. You see, they're the cavalry faction. I'm sorry, I can't watch them plow femboys. I have 13 other units to micro. The most fun I had with them was forming my heavy cavalry into a giant penis. My only weakness was the pincer formation, cause you know. On the flip side, here is a faction that I love to death.
Say my name! Say my name!
Fantasy orcs tend to be brutish, sadistic killing machines. Not because it's a racial allegory, you fucking weirdo. It's because they're a metaphor for the corrupting influence of absolute power. This theme is nowhere to be found in Warhammer though, because the orcs just really like fighting.
Snappy time!
That's it. That's the whole story. No thoughts, head empty, just I don't know if that was the right sound. They spell everything wrong, have a violence-based economy, and their social standing is based entirely around how mean and green you are. And remember, it's subtractive colors, because we're talking about pigmentation, so the greener you are, the darker you look, which means the black orcs are at the top of the food chain. See? Told you it wasn't racist. The greenskins are great for people like me. I'm not too good with formations, terrain bonuses, or sneak attacks, but neither are they. They're just here for a scrap. And so am I. That would have been a segue into their upgrade system, but again, this video exists, so... Infinite rats. Hello, yes, did you order a new subway tunnel? No? Well, we built one anyway, directly underneath your treasury. Welcome to New York City. This is basically the logical extension of the Mouse Utopia experiment. We've got infinite rats with zero sense of empathy or compassion, and they're all packing. Did you know that the rate of firearms homicides has drastically increased in the past few years? With your help, we can get it even higher. How do other factions avoid friendly fire? The dwarfs outrange their enemies. The Empire goes around them. The elves shoot over their allies, and the Skaven shoot through them. Skaven infantry suck dick, and they know it. They're not gonna stick around while you rotate your flankers, so you've just gotta seize the opportunity.
Now, fire, ratlings, fire, fire, kill, yes, yes!
Everyone else is stuck with like late medieval / early modern tech, but the Skaven use space rocks to make straight up laser beams. It is so fun. And the only reason they haven't conquered the world yet is that everyone hates them. Every race on the planet can put aside their differences and agree, yeah, fuck the Skaven, including the Skaven. That's not gonna stop me though, as the way of the brainlet dictates that I must purge every unworthy elf in holy fire. Naturally, this involves the most feared and respected tactic of all, actual nukes. Don't worry about them, they deserved it. Maybe if I use 2, they'll make me some anime or some shit. I have another fantasy bias. I hate elves. It's probably just because of Deep Rock, but they fucking deserve it. With their dumb, smug faces and sense of superiority, they just suck. That said, Warhammer has some fun with the concept. Here we've got Wood Elves, High Elves, and Dark Elves. Wood Elves are like 50% the elf stereotype of tree-hugging weirdos, and 50% Ke Dong Noi Ting Viet. High Elves are the standard kind of elves that I hate. Warhammer High Elves are a significant improvement, solely by virtue of being more punchable. They really like their spearmen, and those aforementioned tabletop nerds will get really uppity if your tactics don't involve a lore-friendly, quote, staunch line of spears, end quote. Shh, nobody tell him that I form a checkerboard pattern to exploit the AI. That'd really piss him off. Finally, we have the Dark Elves.
You Inwa.
No, they aren't just a little racist every now and then. They are comically evil, like kick a baby and laugh maniacally kind of evil. Their economy is based on slavery. Their supreme leader is Darth Vader.
I hate snow.
Their home region is a barren wasteland. They use their naval superiority to bully the global south. They also live in America. I'm not sure what that means. Let's talk about what's probably my favorite faction. Yes, I love the dwarfs, but the Vampire Coast has taken fun maxing to a whole new level.
Fortune favors the infamous.
Unlike the Vampire Counts, who have no ranged units, almost every single Vampire Coast unit has an unreasonable amount of firepower. Sure, they might not be fast, versatile, accurate, or even remotely clever, but neither is the enemy. At least, not anymore. The typical swashbuckling pirate sense of bravado and lack of self-preservation work perfectly with being undead. Almost like they stole the idea or something. You can absolutely afford to throw caution to the wind and choke the air with bullets and cannonballs alike. And if they compromise your gun lines, it's fine, you can always make more. Or you can reform half a battalion into the worst unit in the game, which is coincidentally a cornerstone of the brainlet style. Oh man, those are some really nice high-tier infantry you got there. Better hope they don't get bunched up, cause... And if someone calls you bad, just remember the words of Sun Tzu. To win without fighting is the epitome of skill. And to lose to a fucking bloated corpse army is the epitome of skill issues. Speaking of Sun Tzu,
China will grow larger.
while the other factions put some kind of crazy spin on established fantasy concepts, Cathay is just fantasy China. Cause their models sold like shit. Their aesthetics and gameplay are ripped straight out of actual Chinese history and mythology. And frankly, that's almost more batshit than the made up stuff. Ah yes, make sure that the yin and yang are in harmony, or else your auras will become most inauspicious. Except I don't really care. I'm too busy drowning in gold because my Silk Road rakes in fat stacks from those Ai Guai Lo. No, you can't have any. I need it. I have a Great Wall and a Doomsday Timer, and I know enough Chinese history to know what that means. Oh, that's a bit anticlimactic. Let me explain. In real life, the endgame event was just the Mongols. In Warhammer, it's the Fun Police. I'm serious. The 4 Chaos Gods exist solely to curtail the ridiculousness of any given faction. You can't be too fighty, or you'll fall to Khorne. You can't be too cartoonishly evil, or you'll fall to Slanesh. I don't know enough lore to finish that analogy, but I think the gameplay gets it across just fine. You see, Tzeentch turns the enemy into enemies. Slanesh turns enemy units into friendly units. Nurgle turns all units into no units, and Khorne turns no units into enemy units. Slanesh and Khorne are based around, or should I say, cringed around, melee infantry, so boring, lame. Nurgle has a lot of campaign mechanics, and we haven't talked about those for a reason, so that just leaves my favorite, Tzeentch, who is very balanced. First of all, the roster scores an A+ in brainlet compatibility. Most of your units spam magic missiles, and all of your units get a free Halo shield. Whoops, I'm taking too much damage. I'll just pull back and use my passive, free, infinite healing ability. Second, the magic. Magic in Warhammer works by channeling the ever-changing winds of magic. Tzeentch, the Lord of Change, has direct access to everyone's magic juice. So, while the enemy is bogged down by your 7,000 missile units, you can just swoop in, steal their magic, and use it to open a black hole. Fun fact, this strategy taught me a very important lore lesson. You see, the lizard men were magically bioengineered or whatever to fight chaos. At first, I didn't really understand why. I mean, dinosaurs are fun and all, but why do they have to be reptiles? Oh! Yeah, as it turns out, temptation, deception, and corruption only work if you have a fucking brain. So that was Total Warhammer 3. I don't care about the series, I don't care about the franchise, but holy fuck is this fun. It is the ultimate exemplar of what a good theme can do. Normally when I see a video game adaptation of something, I'm just like, come on, couldn't you make something original? But this is one of those cases where being confined to an adaptation has undisputably made the better game. I could make a joke here about, oh hey, look what they do when they're trying to be original. But like I said, I didn't actually play the other games. Thank you for watching. Genuinely, this is the most I have ever worked on a video, and the next one will definitely not be as good. The YouTube algorithm currently encourages every creator to make each video bigger and better, and then, you know, instantly burn out like a bunch of magnesium. I have no plans on burning out, so stay tuned for next time for a less insane video for a more insane game.